everybody? Eden here, and welcome into today's episode of Around the Slice. So, as usual, every couple of days this time of year, I am doing another check-in because over the last day or so, a day or two rather, the Buffalo Bills have made a lot of movement and become way more active in 2026 NFL free agency. Just for a frame of reference within this chaotic and very fun and fast-moving time of year, it is 12 o'clock p.m. on Saturday, March 14th at the time of this recording, so please keep that in mind. Anything after this or this point forward will be covered in 2 or 3 days from now in the next episode of Around the Slice. So, quick rundown today. The Bills have made a couple of notable key additions to our defensive backfield, and then a couple of exact final contract details have come out, one that was previously established and one that was previously not established in terms of financials. So without any more bearing the lead, let's get into it. I'm very excited about this couple defensive backfield additions. Sequential order of when they happened. First, Buffalo Bills signed defensive back CJ Gardner-Johnson. You'll see in a minute why I use specifically terminology of DB. Let's get to the financials and then height, weight, player details, thoughts, all that. CJ Gardner-Johnson coming over on a 1 year up to max value of $6 million. We don't know the base yet, but if it's max value of 6, I'd assume it's 4, maybe 4.5 million. For a player that has a lot of good past veteran starting experience like CJ Gardner-Johnson, that's really, really incredible value in my opinion. For the body type, he's 5'11", 210 pounds, and he just turned 28 recently. He doesn't turn 29 years old until December. He came into the league really young out of Florida, 4th round pick out of Florida by the New Orleans Saints. He's been all over the place. I'll touch on that in a minute. The reason why I said DB was because versatility is the name of the game with CJ. He is a true defensive chess piece. Okay, in terms of alignment. These were his alignment splits last season. So, courtesy of Chris Trapasso on X, his alignment splits last season, 2025, across 3 different teams were as follows. 47.9 of snaps in the box, 33% of snaps in the slot, as a slot corner, 10.5% of snaps at free safety, 6.7 of snaps on defensive line is a blitzing defensive back, and a small 1.7% of snaps at outside corner. He can do it all. He can play anywhere in the secondary, literally. He can blitz towards the line of scrimmage. He can play a dime linebacker role, whatever you need. Career success. In 77 games in the NFL, he has totaled 20 interceptions, 55 pass breakups, 3 forced fumbles, 27 tackles for loss, and 7 sacks. That goes back to the aggressive blitz towards the line of scrimmage. This is really, really interesting to me. The name of the game with CJ Gardner-Johnson is versatility and aggressive ball production. Look at all that ball production, the 77 games. Again, quick recap, 77 games. For ball production, 20 picks, 55 pass breakups, 3 forced fumbles, 27 tackles for loss, and 7 sacks in 77 games. No matter where he's lined, he's very aggressive. Now, he's almost aggressive to a fault. He can get thrown off his spot in terms of tackling. He ain't the best tackler in the world, and that goes back to 8 or 9 years ago, damn near at Florida, when he had tackling concerns. Still to this day, he has tackling concerns, but the other safety we signed is a surefire tackler as well, and pretty underrated ball skills as well, which I'll touch on in a minute. But CJ individually, I like this a lot. The safety I'm going to talk about in a minute, there's a lot of starting competition now. So the thing with CJ, though, is he has bounced around in his career. He started with the Saints, then he went to the Eagles, then he went to the Lions, then he went back to the Eagles, and then last year he was literally on 3 different teams because he's a loud dude. He's eccentric. He believes that he's the best player in the world, and he'll let you know it. And you won't be tell him otherwise. You just have to accept that he has very loud, eccentric personality in that sense. Evidenced by last season in 2025 specifically, he overall mainly he went 3 different teams. He signed with the Houston Texans in the offseason, was a horrible teammate, kicked out basically. for all intents and purposes, and then signed with the Ravens practice squad. And then a week or two later, reports of being a horrible teammate, kicked out. And then he signed with the Chicago Bears damn near a week or so later. And he wasn't kicked out. He filled in for Jaquan Brisker very admirably in the beginning. And then when Brisker came back from his concussion/injury issues, CJ was playing slot when Kyler Gordon was out, playing nickel when Kyler Gordon was out. Mainly as a third safety, still got a big chunk of playing time with Ben Johnson and staff and Dennis Allen as the defensive coordinator and such. But this guy can line up all over the place, and it goes hand in hand. This next guy, totally different skill set, but this guy's more traditional safety because the Bills have also signed safety Geno Stone. Both these guys are both targets for me, that being C.J. Gardner-Johnson and Geno Stone. If you saw my defensive free agent targets last week, for CJ, both slot corner and safety. Once you move on to Taylor Johnson. For Geno Stone, I want him so badly at safety. It's just a luxury now. We signed 2 starting caliber dudes. And CJ Gardner-Johnson, excuse me, and Geno Stone as a whole, rather. So Geno Stone, 1-year deal. There's no specific money yet. I'd imagine, though, it's not that big of a deal. Expensive, rather. Projections from Spotrac, PFF, other great projection sites, etc. and whatnot. $4 to $7 million. I assume it's five, maybe 5.5 base value of some incentives, just like CJ's. 1-year deal for Geno Stone, 5'11", 210 pounds, same exact body type as CJ Gardner-Johnson. 3.7 coming out of Iowa as a 7th round pick in 2020, 3.76 RAS, so that's a 3.76 relative athletic score that combines all of the leg testing, 3-cone, 40-yard dash, vertical jump, pro day, combine, what have you. It combines everything. That's a very, very poor athlete because 1 is horrible and 10 is perfect. So it's a very poor athlete at 3.76. But he's an opportunistic ball hawk. He plays instinctual. He has more ball production in his career than that very poor 3.76 RES would initially suggest to you. He turns 27 in April, so even a couple years younger than CJ. 2020, as alluded to, 2020 7th round pick out of Iowa by the Ravens. The Iowa defensive back factory still going to this day in the NFL. Like I said, he has more ball production. He thrives on instincts rather than athleticism. He had 7 interceptions in 2023 for the Ravens, and it helped him cash in on a 2-year, $14 million deal with the Cincinnati Bengals ahead of the 2024 season the following year, and he started he literally started the next 2 years at one of the safety spots next to Jordan Battle and such. And Cincinnati fans wanted to axe him immediately. They said he was horrible. What do you expect? The Bengals had no defensive line pressure to go along with that secondary. They barely had any corners aside DJ Johnson. It was a horrible, horrible situation. But instincts, in 85 games, he has started 53 of them. He has 14 interceptions, 21 pass breakups, 13 interceptions over the last 3 seasons. So before 2023, he had 1 interception, and then the last 3 years, he's had 13 of his 14 interceptions. He's only missed 1 career game in 6 seasons in the NFL, and I think that was like due to a concussion or anything, so it was just some freak concussion thing. Obviously, CJ Gardner-Johnson is way more athletic than Geno Stone. Obviously, CJ Gardner-Johnson is a louder, more eccentric personality and way more athletic, like I just said. The fact of the matter is, he has way more ball production, but again, Geno Stone, more of a traditional safety. CJ Gardner-Johnson, way more of a defensive chess piece. We are suddenly loaded, in all caps, loaded at safety now, when just a week ago, just literally a freaking week ago, we were in dire straits with Cole Bishop and who the hell else. I'd imagine that this means that Cam Lewis, it's going to feel weird to say because he's been, people don't realize he's been on the team for 7 years now, out of UDFA, out of UB, 1 year in the practice squad, 6 year active roster. He's a special teams ace, but the name of the game with Cam Lewis is versatility. Well, we have a young, versatile chess piece in Jordan Hancock, and then a veteran, high-end, versatile chess piece in CJ Gardner-Johnson. Cam Lewis will unfortunately move on. You have 4 safeties now. If you want to CJ pigeonhole that. That means Damar Hamlin's probably not back. I say maybe bring him back just for the special teams ability because none of our safeties right now play special teams. Cole Bishop doesn't play a lick of special teams. Jordan Hancock, maybe special teams, but he has a lot to go. TJ Gardner-Johnson doesn't play a lick of special teams. Geno Stone maybe, but if he's starting as well, then that's not going to work out. So maybe you bring back DeMar Hamlin for special teams purposes. Teams typically carry 4. Maybe if it's a weak roster, they carry 5, but this is not a weak roster. There's not many roster spots to be had. So, yeah, we're loaded at safety. There's going to be competition all over the place. Let's check it. Let's check our defensive backfield right now. At CB1, we have Christian Benford, locked and loaded. CB2, we have Max Hairston, assumedly locked and loaded. Starting strong safety, we got Cole Bishop. But then starting free safety and slot corner is going to be very interesting. And CJ Gardner-Johnson can compete at both spots. Starting free safety can be Geno Stone versus CJ Gardner-Johnson. And whoever, if CJ Gardner-Johnson loses the battle, it can be a very versatile third safety chess piece in the dime/nickel role, just like it was in Chicago last year. And if Geno Stone loses that, we have a sufficient level starting caliber safety that we just have the luxury of being our third safety. But CJ can also compete with D. Elford in slot. I'm assuming D. Elford will win that situation battle, if you would, per se, just because he's kind of pigeonholed as a slot-only corner. He's only a slot corner where CJ can play literally all over the place. But maybe CJ's versatility, you want to keep him off the bench in case anyone gets injured. He can come in seamlessly. This will be very interesting, a lot of competition. As I said, we were loaded, and as I said, we could not make the case last week. So individually, I'm not going to combine these signings because they came in about a day apart. But individually, the CJ Gardner-Johnson trade deal, again, 1 year, max value of $6 million, probably 4.5 at that, pushing damn near that number for base value. I'm going to give that one a B plus because it ain't the biggest name A minus. It ain't the biggest name in the world, and if you're gonna have to curtail the attitude issues. It's very loud. It's eccentric most of the time to a fault, as evidenced by being kicked out of multiple places last season in 2025 NFL season. But yeah, A minus separately. And Geno Stone, I'm gonna give an A plus. You have competition now in this backfield. You'll have the luxury of some guy being a third safety in a dime/nickel package role, to a hybrid linebacker, and CJ versatility, and Geno Stone being more of a traditional safety. So individually, CJ signing 1 year for 6 max value, A minus. Geno Stone 1 year, probably 4.5, 5.5 maybe. Not official yet though. I'm going to give an A plus. Now we have a couple of rumblings that we have to get to here. Not even rumblings, they're confirmed contract details, courtesy of Spot Track on X. They do an excellent job tracking all this. Dawson Knox extension details. This game's in an incredibly drastic pay cut for Dawson Knox, which, damn, you better have, because you're going to be booted off the team if not. 3 years, $20 million, $6.7 million per year. I can kind of get behind that without knowing the numbers. A few days ago, I was like, I don't really like this because you're kind of oversaturated at tight end now, but it is what it is. So 3 for 20, 6.7 per. We got $10 million guaranteed. It breaks down like this as follows: $10 million guaranteed at signing. So literally right now, $3.5 million more next March. So March of 2027, 2 years, $14 million practical, $7 million a year. So you can cut them after 2027 before that third year of 2028 kicks in, and get little recourse on that. And then $8.5 million 2026 cap space saved. That's really, really drastic. I was really hoping positive, drastic move. So yeah. And then Connor McGovern extension details. We knew this, but we didn't know like the full details. So courtesy of Spot Track and X, we have him now. Connor McGovern extension. So this was already confirmed for 4 years, 52, $13 million per. When you look at the booming center market, that is literally a steal, A plus steal if I've ever seen one. But 26, it break new details, $26.2 million guaranteed at signing. So literally at this moment right now, $5.24 million more next March. So March of 2027, no qualms about that. He gets $16.5 million this year in 2026 cash flow, and practical is 3 years, $39 million. Practical, $13 million per year. So you can cut him before the fourth year kicks in for little to no dead cap. But this is where I kind of get concerned because it balloons after a couple of years. The cap hits are as follows. So 5.2 million for McGovern on the books, 5.2 million for Bean Company, 5.2 million 2026 this year. Okay, fine. 7.1 million 2027. Okay, fine. But then we get ballooned in a bad way. 17.2 million hit in 2028 and 17.7 in 2029, and then just for financial purposes to backload it, 5 million 2030 is a void year. If you don't know what that means, quickly I'll explain. You just pay the player for you not to be on the team. Like Joey Bosa and Matt Milano had void years this year, and they're being paid to not be on the team. I don't get it. That's why restructures are not always the best. But hey, pay them on. It is what it is. It helps you now, but creates more cap space in the future. So he'll be on the team in 26 and 27. But with that $17, $18 million cap hit in 28 and 29, respectively, I think we could be looking to move on from Connor McGovern. I really, really do. Now, he's only 29 right now, but he'll be, 32, 33 years old at that point. So maybe he continues to decline. Maybe we still don't win a Super Bowl. That would be sad and unfortunate, but not continues to decline. Maybe one day he does start to decline. I assume a pay cut will be approached by this 2 or 3 years from now. Now, just for a fun exercise, a handful of new jersey numbers were announced, whether it's returning players that are switching numbers because of other players coming in, whether it's new signings, whether it's internal signings, or whether it's just new numbers in general. I'm going to kind of like on the fly here have a fun exercise of like rate them on a scale 1 to 10 by how like quote unquote pretty they look on the TV screen and how I think the new numbers will fare. Again, this is just me my own personal opinion. 1 being I think it will look horrible, and 10 being that's perfect. QB Kyle Allen, number 11. I'm going to give this a 7. The number's fine. He's directly replacing Mr. Trubisky. I just think he's a horrible player. He can't function even as a backup. So Kyle Allen, jersey number 11. I'll give that a 7. Defensive end, Bradley Chubb. He wore number 2 with the Dolphins last year. And he's wearing number 9 with the Bills this year and his whole Bills career for the next 3 years, obviously. Assumably. I love this. I'm warming up to the idea of the single-digit numbers for the pass rushers more and more. It makes them stand out, and especially when they get sacks and start celebrating on the TV screen, it makes them stand out in that aspect and stamps their dominance, if you would. So I'm going to give that a perfect 10. I really love how that fares. Corner D. Elford, number 23. Again, another perfect 10. I love how a starting slot corner is keeping the trend going of defensive backs wearing numbers in the low to mid 20s. That makes sense. Wide receiver Mecole Hardman, number 1. I guess it makes sense for a jersey number for a receiver. So from that aspect, I'll go 3 on the scale of 1 to 10. So I'll go 3, but I doubt the dude even makes the team opening week roster next year. Running back Ray Davis, number 7. This sucks. I absolutely hate it. If I could give it a 0, I'll give it a 0, but I can't. That's not a thing. So I'll give it literally a score of a 1. This looks so stupid. Like, you're a big physical back. Well, he lost weight last year, but for all intents and purposes, you're a big physical back, and you're going to wear number 7 as a running back? Terrence Johnson as a slot corner. Now he's gone, obviously, but Terrence Johnson as a slot corner just wear number 7. So Ray Davis switching to number 7. I give it a 1. Defensive end Greg Rousseau, number 15. Listen, I get he wore that at Miami for a couple years when he was there, and I get that maybe he'll recapture some dominance if you believe in that stuff, but I don't know, man. This is weird. Like, I love the single digits for the pass rushers. You got to be either single digits or in the 40s or 50s. You can't be wearing like 20 or below. This looks stupid. Number 15 is like a receiver number, a pass catcher number. For Greg Rousseau, I like the player, but strictly from a jersey numbers perspective, obviously, I'm going to go with like a 4. I think this sucks. It's a bit redeeming, I guess, because you weren't in college, but I'm going to go with a 4. Kicker Tyler Bass, number 16. You're seeing more and more kickers wear quirky numbers like this and punters, but kickers mainly these days. I'm going to go with I'm going to go with a 5. I think it's perfectly average, middle of the road, fine if you would. I just don't love his outlook for this team. So I'm going to go 5. Wide receiver DJ Moore, he's keeping the same number. In the Bears last few years, I'm going to go with a perfect 10. Again, no, like duh. Number 1 wide receiver gets precedence over a kicker that might not even make the team. So I'm going to go 10 there. And then our brand new addition, defensive back CJ Gardner-Johnson, number 22. Now, CJ's a very loud, eccentric personality, so I assume he wanted to wear a single-digit number to stand out because literally his whole career is wanted to stand out. He's very loud and eccentric personality-wise. He gets in your face. So from that perspective, I was assuming he was going to pick a single-digit number to be dramatic and stand out more because that's just the type of guy he is. So but this makes sense. That aside, this does make sense a lot for the defensive back perspective. I'll go 8. I just wasn't expecting it. So yeah, there's the fun exercise of the jersey numbers. Half of them I like a lot, and half of them there's a few that are okay and a few that are horrible. Anyways, guys, that was just a fun exercise. Yeah, and we don't know the new addition, Brandon just and Geno Stone. We don't even know the financials or the jersey number. But yeah. Anyways, guys, we're loaded at safety now. There's going to be a ton of competition next to Cole Bishop. There's going to be a ton of competition at slot corner now. Half the secondary is going to be brand new. So whether it's reserves or starters, I appreciate you for tuning into this episode. In just a few days, I'm going to kind of again check back in, but put a fun spin on it instead of these not boring check-ins, but instead of these like straightforward update style thought check-ins. I'm going to reset the Bills free agent board, if you will, by giving you what I think their needs are at that moment in a few days as the bulk of free agency at least dies down in targets at said positions, targets still remaining at those specific positions. So we'll reset the Bills needs, we'll reset the Bills targets at those needs and positions of need. Anyways, guys, you can follow me on Twitter/X at AWineGunner13 if you would like any additional Bills/NFL and or NFL thoughts, opinions, and discussions over there. You can listen to this podcast on YouTube, Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get your favorite podcasts, platform of choice. We're on it. Speak of YouTube, if you're watching on YouTube, please like and subscribe to the channel. I'd greatly appreciate it. And if you'd like, please let me know down in the comments below. Who do you think is going to win these multiple defensive back battles now that are already locked in? What are some free agents you would still like the Bills to get as we prepare for my resetting of quote unquote resetting of the board, if you will, in a few days? And yeah, please share this channel and episode with anyone and everyone you know. I greatly appreciate it. Thank you for the support as always. Have a great end to your weekend. I will see you in the next one in a few days for that resetting of the board that we discussed. Goodbye.